Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today. Easterseals, as you may have heard, means a lot to me. That little girl with that rockin' ponytail up there is me, all the way back in 1993, and that's my friend Ted sitting next to me, and the gentleman behind me, I couldn't tell you who that is. But we find that, a lot of people, and maybe even you know on the surface what Easterseals does and who we serve. But I get to share just a little bit more in depth what Easterseals is and what it means to the families we serve. So just a little bit about us. We are one of 75 affiliates across the country. But what makes Easterseals Central Illinois so special is we focus on that pediatric range. So ages birth to 21. Last year, we served over 5,000 kiddos and families, and that equates to almost 36,000 hours of specialized pediatric therapy. So as I go forward in my presentation, I just want to break down certain aspects of Easterseals for you as much as I can in a 20-minute time period. I could talk for hours about Easterseals, but I'm going to try to condense it as much as I can. So the Easterseals mission, Easterseals Central Illinois provides exceptional services to ensure that children with developmental delays, disabilities, and other special needs can reach their full potential. We do that through that specialized pediatric therapy, but we also have various other services and resources that serve families in need. So a good bulk of the services we provide take place in our Peoria and Bloomington service centers. When I talk about a good bulk of our services, that's where I'm talking about that specialized pediatric therapy. So to break down some of our therapies, which I know some of you probably are familiar with, there's physical therapy, so helping to make your muscles stronger, helping to make your muscles coordinate so you can run, jump, skip, play, anything you can think of if you have a mobility issue with your gross motor muscles. We have speech therapy. So not only when you hear speech therapy, you think, oh, learning how to talk. Part of it, yes. A lot of our friends that come through Easterseals have speech delays, and they do just need that little extra help to be able to make their words more clear. But there's also much more to speech. It can be learning how to properly communicate, the right things to say when. Some of our friends that come through Easterseals actually don't use their voice to speak. They might use something called augmented communication devices. So you've probably seen maybe a friend in the community with an iPad and they use that to speak. So our therapists are trained on how to teach our kiddos how to do that. We have occupational therapy. This is a therapy I benefited from as a child. I was born with right hemiplegic cerebral palsy. I'm sure many of you know what cerebral palsy is, and it affects everyone differently. Just like we say with our friends with autism, you meet one person with CP, you meet one person with CP. Mine affects the right side of my body. So I have limited mobility on my right side. I always tell my little friends when I speak in the schools, like, you can go like this, easy as that, or pick up a bottle of water. With my right hand, I can't do that. When I'm speaking to my littles, when I go to my ability awareness programming, I may or may not compare myself to Nemo. I don't know if you've ever seen Nemo, but he has a little fin, so do I. So occupational therapy, your tasks of daily living. For me, it was tying my shoes, zipping my coat, writing, just your fine motor activities. But now it's so much more. A lot of our friends that come through through Easterseals have a diagnosis of autism. The statistic right now is 1 in 44 children are diagnosed with autism. When I started at Easterseals about 5 years ago, that statistic was like 1 in 80 something. The need is growing, and we're happy to be here to help with that. Some of the ways OT helps, our friends have high sensory needs, for example. So you know that feeling you get when your foot falls asleep? So for some of our friends with sensory needs, if they have a tag on the back of their shirt and it's rubbing them, they're gonna feel that feeling all over their body. Can you imagine trying to do something when you feel like that? So just one way OT helps our kiddos is to learn how to navigate those feelings. We also have feeding therapy. Some of our friends have trouble eating, whether it be getting a spoon to your mouth or whether it be putting different sensations into your mouth. We had a little girl come through Easterseals, and when she came, she only ingested 2 things: Pringles, potato chips, and water. That's it. When she completed feeding therapy, she was up to 12 foods. Now, for you and I, that's not very much, but to her family, that was a game changer. She was able to go to a restaurant with her family and order off a menu. That's a pretty big deal. We also have other therapies like animal-assisted therapy. We have an employee with 4 legs and fur. His name's Jarvis. He's a really great motivational tool, as is our warm water therapy pool. It's a cozy 92 degrees at all times. That's in our Peoria Center, but with the new Y facility, we will have access to a warm water therapy pool there. Not only is that a great motivational tool because you want to get into a pool, what kid doesn't want to get into a pool? If they're not motivated to work on land, give me a swimming pool and I'll jump in. Speaking of that, I have a friend, her name is Anna. She has spinal muscular atrophy. She's 8 years old. Spinal muscular atrophy is a degenerative muscle disease. So as she grows older, unfortunately, she's gonna lose some weakness in her muscles. But for her, that pool, she adores it. You know why? She said for her, when she's in the pool, it takes away gravity. She can move just like anyone else. So we're excited with the new Y facility that we will be able to give our clients in the Bloomington Normal area that opportunity to swim in the pool. That is just a sliver of the things we do at our Peoria and Bloomington facilities. Now, before I move on, we're gonna do some fun things real quick. Can I have 2 volunteers that are wearing shoes with shoelaces? Don't be scared. Okay, come on up.
That's 2. Let's go. You raise your hand. There's 2. Not 1, 2.
I don't know how well people will be able to see, but we're gonna do something. So can you untie one of your shoes for me?
On the table.
Can I see it on the table? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to put one arm behind your back. And now I want you to try to tie your shoe.
Use your mouth.
Not that flexible.
That's a strategy that I have used, believe it or not. Is that pretty difficult for you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can bring your other hand forward, but I want you to maintain a fist. Fist. Okay, now you can keep trying to tie your shoe, but you can use your hand as a helper without your fingers. How you doing? Still hard. Okay.
How do you make the bubble?
In this scenario, you would be referred to Easterseals for some occupational therapy. And that demonstrates what it's like to live with my disability. And they helped me with that. So thank you for volunteering. Okay, I have one more little simulation activity that everyone gets to participate in. So can everyone put your tongue on the roof of your mouth? And Amber told me we could use this, but I heard you say it earlier, the 4-way test. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and recite the 4-way test. So, was that a little bit difficult to understand? understand your neighbor? Was that a little bit difficult to get your words out clearly? In that scenario, you might benefit from speech therapy. So those are just two little activities I actually use quite often in my ability awareness program with the littles, but I think it's very eye-opening to anyone that participates in those. So those were just a little bit about general services. And then our next slide. So this is just a little mission moment, just real quick, of one of my friends, Carter, participating in physical therapy.
You need to click it?
I think so.
Yes.
Carter is a longtime friend of Easterseals. Her sister also benefits from services, but Carter, like me, has CP, but her CP affects her in a different way. And we can come back to it if it's giving you a little bit of problem.
Push. Right, just come on. Push. Left foot, right foot. There you go.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah, look at you.
Push.
Simple as that. I just wanted to give you another
Come on.
little sliver of all the fun things we see going on at Easterseals every day. Okay, so our next aspect of Easterseals would be Timber Point Outdoor Center. I know a lot of people in this room have a big connection to Timber Point. I think you guys helped fund to pave our roads and paths out there. I think some of you also were able to participate and help build the main lodge, which is huge. Timber Point kind of speaks for itself. I mean, it's just like a camp like any other, but every single thing out there can be adapted for someone of any disability. Our program manager out there, Lydia, says there is not a single program that every participant can't participate in, whether that be archery, swimming, horseback riding, boating, crafts, I mean, and of course the high ropes course. I mean, the coolest thing you'll ever see, which is demonstrated there in that picture, is someone with limited to no mobility get hoisted 100 feet above the ground and shoot across the sky on a zip line. If you can imagine being maybe a young person, maybe in junior high, and then you go back to school and the teacher says, "What did you do this summer?" And that kiddo gets to say they did that, I think some jaws might drop. That's what Timber Point does. It allows kids to be independent with no worries, to be accepted for who they are, and to be able to participate in every capacity. The Easterseals Learning Academy is another part of Easterseals that maybe a lot of people might not be familiar with. That is a specialized school outside of Germantown Hills in Metamora. Currently, we serve about 31 students there, from kindergarten to seniors in high school. Students at that school have a primary diagnosis of autism, and they need a little extra support. They were not thriving in their regular school setting, so their home district recommended them to the Learning Academy, where they can get that specialized support they need. Whether it be one-on-one with an aide or your basic therapies that are covered at our other service centers. Again, the ultimate goal there is to have a child come through, receive the support they need, and be able to use the tools they learn at the Learning Academy to transition back to their home district. A big part of what Easterseals does is our autism services. I mentioned before, the statistic is 1 in 44 children are diagnosed. Easterseals is the leading downstate provider of autism services in our area. If you're not familiar with what autism is, which I'm sure you all are, but it's kind of a disability that can affect your social emotional cues, your ability to communicate, obviously your sensory needs, and so on and so forth. At our new Y facility that's going to be here in Bloomington, we are so excited. We have multiple ABA rooms to facilitate ABA therapy, which is applied behavior analysis, which is a therapy that works to reinforce good behavior but kind of deter from that negative behavior. It's very research-based, very, very promising therapy. We have families that come to Easterseals from far away to receive this intensive therapy. We had a kiddo come through that received 4 hours of therapy every day for 5 days. They were from Galesburg. Their family would come every day so they could receive that services. There's so much more I could say about Autism Services, but we simply don't have enough time. But if you're interested, please let me know. And I feel like I'm running out of time, but what makes us different, real quick, we are interdisciplinary. That means if you receive more than one service, say I receive PT and OT, my therapists are talking together to work on those same common goals. Advocacy and awareness, this is huge. Easterseals goes above and beyond for our families. When you come through our doors and leave our doors, rest assured that we are out there advocating for your child in every capacity. In my case, a program I do is our Easterseals Ability Awareness Program. Right now, it's not very big in Bloomington Normal. I am always looking to expand that. It is a really easy to use program that we provide the teachers. Everything you need there, you just have to select the days in the week you're going to do it. It's so important as a child with a difference of any age to educate, to teach kindness, and that's a big part of what that program does. Family-centered care, that's really a lot of what we do. If you were in our Peoria facility and I was walking you through, I would open a closet and you'd be like, Molly, what are you doing? Are you putting me in a closet? No. It's because back when the facility was built in 1993, there was rooms with windows where families could go in and they would watch therapy happen with their child. Now those are closets because the family is involved in every step of the way, especially with the pandemic when we had to pivot to telehealth. Can you imagine doing physical therapy on a computer screen with a 4-year-old? Very difficult. But our therapists are able to coach family members on how to facilitate that therapy. How you can help. I hope, if anything, after I'm done speaking today, you're inclined to help in some way. Volunteer with us. Join a special event committee. Volunteer at one of our events. Volunteer at our upcoming community rally, which there's a flyer on your table about that. Advocate and educate. Just like I mentioned, if you know a school in your area where you would like to see some ability awareness come through, please let me know. I would be happy to bring that program to you. Give. Time, talent, treasure. I don't think I need to tell you what give means. I think you're all here for that reason, and so take that into your own consideration. Learn more and more and more and more. Not just about Easterseals. Obviously, I want you to learn more about Easterseals, and like I said, I could talk to you for hours about it, but I don't have that much time. But it's important to learn about what we do and how valuable we are to the community. I would encourage you, there's a flyer on the table also about our Easterseals 101 program, which is basically this. If you would like to see that come to your business group, youth group, church outing, I would be happy to come and tell you a little bit more about Easterseals. But also take a moment to learn about friends with disabilities. Learn about how disability affects people in our community. So often we talk about disparities in our community, and disability may fall through the cracks. I just encourage you to take a little time to learn more about how disabilities affect people in our area. And I think that takes me close to time, which is perfect. That's a little bit about Easterseals, and like I said, it's just a little bit of it. And we're going to conclude by saying thank you. These are some of my friends from the Easterseals Learning Academy, and they're going to say thank you to you in however they communicate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Izzy.
Take it. See, fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aha! Aha! Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, we have a couple minutes if anyone has a couple questions. Any questions?
Means I did my job.
Nice job. So, thank you.